100% pure terror, then you might be ready for Terror in the Aisles, a totally unique, non-stop roller coaster ride through the most frightening moments of the greatest terror films ever made. Terror in the Aisles. It's only a movie, but it's more than enough.
Welcome to the Fandom Outpost, your podcast for all things pop culture.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fandom Outpost. As always, I am 1/3 your host. My name is Mark.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Bob. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. We just want to ask you to please like and subscribe if you enjoy this video and some of our other content, hopefully. And join us on social media too, where you can join in with the conversation. Today, we got a couple topics. I know we talked about, the three of us, over the last few days about doing a Halloween-style episode because we're in the middle of spooky season. So, thought we'd talk about an older, kind of a lost film, called Terror in the Aisles from 1984. And we'll get into that, which was a pretty interesting time period, time capsule, I guess, for our formative years of horror. Also, we wanted to touch on the passing of the great legendary artist Drew Struzan. I know Mark and Jim have some comments they want to share about his career and efforts, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But I guess first things first, how's the spooky season going for you guys so far? Any fun things going on? Have you seen anything fun? Anything streaming or theater? I know, Jim, you saw...
Yeah, last night I went and saw Plan 9 from Outer Space at our great Redford Theater. It was intercut with a tribute to Sir Graves Ghastly, which was our Detroit horror host. And so they took old intros and outros of one of his episodes and weaved it in like you were watching an episode of Saturday Afternoon Sir Graves Ghastly. So that was fun.
I hit the daytime one of that one. They did a 2 p.m. I hit that one. I missed you. I wish I could have timed it with you better.
What did they show at the daytime one, Bob?
Mark of the Vampire with Bela Lugosi and is it Lionel Barrymore? I think it was Old Man Potter. I noticed.
Yeah, that's Lionel Barrymore.
That's what I always think of. I'm like, how much did he age to get into It's a Wonderful Life?
Isn't Lionel the...
But he probably all had makeup on.
Great-great-grandfather?
He's like
great-great-grandfather? Who's the guy I'm always thinking of, like the legendary? Not Lionel.
That's John Barrymore?
Yeah, maybe John Barrymore, yeah. So.
And they had props from the original TV show, and it was a lot of fun. They had pictures you could take, and it was a lot of fun. And they had sprinkled in 70s commercials, too, from our Metro Detroit area that we all remember growing up with jingles everyone sang, and it was a fun time. It was kind of like like being back in the 70s. It was as close to that experience as watching on TV on a Saturday afternoon the creature feature that you can probably get, I think, nowadays. So it was,
the only thing that would have made it
fun.
More realistic is if they would have interrupted it for a Tigers game or Soul Train.
Preempted
it. If I see Don Cornelius coming on there, I'm not a happy kid.
Oh,
Soul Train shows up. Oh my God,
that's right.
Whatever.
Is there anything like that nowadays? Real quick, as far
Soul
as
Train?
no, as far as
No.
no, just like when we were kids, they had like the creature feature, and you were able to see horror movies that maybe were 20, 30 years old, and
nationally,
made you a fan as a kid.
Nationally, if you get MeTV, there is Svengoolie, who was known when we were growing up as son of Svengoolie. But there is a healthy... You have to look for it, and I can't remember what it's called right now. But there are local horror hosts all over the place, but they're all streaming.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, you could find stuff, but you got to dig deep because it's going to be rebroadcast, or you're going to get it somewhere else, or it's got to be the oddball streaming service that you got, especially if you're locally. You guys heard about MTV, right? After all these years and stuff, they're shutting down whatever division it was.
I'm like,
stuff.
they're still around?
I know, that's the first thought I had, but that's the thing about streaming.
A while ago.
Yeah, that is that their reasoning is exactly why things don't work nowadays. Like they're just that revenue's not there. Nobody comes to us because we're not relevant, advertisers and whatnot. So it's sad, but YouTube seems to be the best source of everything I can find. Whether or not it's an actual broadcast or it's a, I guess rebroadcast. Is that what they call it? Is that the right word? Rebroadcast and stuff. So,
you just don't get that communal,
You don't.
share.
What you don't have is you don't have the local flavor.
Yeah.
Because local television is no longer exists. I mean, those things existed because those TV stations had to put out so many hours of local programming. So that's how we got things like Oopsie the Clown and things like that.
Yeah. Well, before we go off into different directions, Mark, anything that you've wanted to point out for spooky season? This one?
I hate you, dude.
Sorry.
You're always dropping these little nuggets that just, I don't know where the nostalgia comes from, but you're just like, wow, and stuff. No, you know what? Mine all comes from my physical media. It seems like sometimes that physical media outlets or whoever they be, they want to release stuff, around spooky season, which they should. They should all capitalize on that stuff. So we were talking about Rocky Horror beforehand. I guess the biggest one this season that I watched, besides I've also been watching a lot of Twilight Zone for some reason. So we get, I love the Twilight Zone. I always have. I'm surprised we haven't done something on the Twilight Zone yet. Like that's amazing.
It's like a rewatchable, isn't it?
Oh my God. But there's scary, there's the whole gamut. First of all, if you don't know what Twilight Zone is, you live under a rock because that's crazy. We didn't really grow up with that. It was right before our generation.
No, it was long gone.
Yeah, but man, when those reruns hit us. But anyway, that aside, the best thing I watched this year. Oh, and also, folks, by the way, where these two live up in Michigan, they got a lot of great communal things that they can do. So they were talking about this Redford Theater. It's an old theater in the suburbs outside of Detroit that shows constantly great old time stuff. And then you guys got the State Theater downtown. Is it the State Theater sometimes that shows it? Or, well, the State Theater in Ann Arbor has... They'll have event type of things. Michigan Theater, that's it. And then Bob's got this little rinky-dink hole-in-the-wall guy, like in walking distance in his town. That
pen?
Yeah, that will show stuff. So, unfortunately, where I live, if anybody's listening and watching, get your shit together, man. Let's get some communal stuff.
Somebody's got to jump in, man, right? There's a gap to be filled there.
Yeah, like I get nothing.
Old nostalgic
goose egg. We have the main theaters that will show, what do you even call that when they show like the, not fandom events, although that's one of them, but
first run theaters.
Yeah, first run theaters that
multiplexes.
That will show stuff, but nothing that's an event type of like what they're talking about. It is so like that. Like it's just so disappointing for a person of my age that grew up on all the stuff they're talking about. Anyway, sorry. The 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. Mwah, chef's kiss, man. Yeah.
And you were raving about that.
Oh, my God. Just a joy to watch. I started spooky season off with that. The 4K re-release and modern commentary with Tom Savini. Nice. So, the director.
Yeah.
Wow.
And legendary Tom Savini, makeup artist and stuff. I can't say enough about it. It's really good. Apparently, you get two versions on it. You get his director's cut because the studio chopped it. So you get, sorry folks, you get things like his, shotgun blowing off heads and stuff like that in the movie. So if you ever seen
Which one did you watch? Did you watch that one?
I watched that one just because I had to see what I missed out on in 1990. I saw it. That's when I first moved to Florida. So I went to the theater and everybody was like, what is this? Wow. I'm like, there was hardly anybody there. It didn't get the love, and he's a John Carpenter in that regard. He was really hurt by that. and if you listen to his commentary, he's just so hurt by it. And now that it gets the love, there's a mediator that's with him doing commentary.
Yeah.
And
The moderator?
yeah, he's so like, dude, get over yourself. Like, this is a great effing movie. You know what I mean? And
Right.
Yeah, and he does acknowledge that. But that was a good way to kick off the spooky season for me. I just absolutely love that.
Yeah. Hoping to unseal mine tomorrow. I think I have a chance to.
Oh
watch
my
it
God,
finally.
dude! If you know the movie well enough, just listen to the commentary. It's so worth
Yeah,
it.
I'll do that one.
It's so worth it. So worth it.
I've been getting into these. The Ed Gein series was on Netflix. We blew through that. Took about a week, and then now I'm on to the John Wayne Gacy on Peacock.
Jim
That
sums
is
those up
actually
for me.
a lot better. Yeah, some uplifting content, but the Gacy one is really the Gacy. What is that? Shoot, I can't think of the name of the series. The new series. It is really well done, really cinematic, and really shot well. The soundtrack is really interesting. Yeah, that one's really good. I'm really enjoying that.
Now,
one. I'm about 3 episodes in. Devil in Disguise. That's
okay.
It's really, really. I can't. So far, I'm really enjoying it. How it's made.
Awesome.
The storytelling and everything like that. So that one's highly recommended so far. I hope it doesn't drop the ball because I'm only about halfway through. We'll see. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. But those are kind of keeping me away from watching movies. I've been trying to sneak in a movie here and there, and I'm waiting toward the end of the month to hit the Halloweens and stuff. I don't want to, blow those out too early.
See, I love this because this is what the channel is too. Like, Bob is he's delving into stuff that. First of all, Jim said it best months ago. Not months ago, but we were talking about Ed Gein with Charlie Hunnam, who I love, by the way. Like, I love that guy that so much that, like, I watch everything that comes out. But even this, I pumped the brakes on. And I was like, ooh, I don't know. But Jim was like, something about...
I was watching a documentary before.
That's right.
Series
Yeah.
came on, and it had it on, and I was like, all right, this is enough Black Pit of humanity.
There it is. You don't want to delve in that world too long, Like, you got to get out and see the sunshine after you watch that stuff,
I know.
Yeah.
The monsters, Ed Gein's it leans toward the titillating, which was kind of like, it's more sensationalized, and you kind of have to kind of like step back and look at it as like not a documentary,
right?
Kind of look at it like
that's what
titillating dramatization.
But that's what the public hates about it, and like Jim said, the family members, because it's all sensationalized, and it makes these quote unquote monsters. It tries to humanize them, and for those family members, it's like, are you out of your effing mind? You know what I mean? No. So, but you also have to understand too that in this today's day and age, or even back then when that first one was made, what was it? Was it the Menendez brothers, or was it?
Yeah, there's a few monsters. Right?
Like, there's 3 of them now. Like, they're
Dahmer.
Dahmer, that was the other one. That got a lot of sensational press.
I watched a couple of those. I couldn't get into
a lot, man. But it's like, I guess, like, you either got to take your stand as the family. And disclaimer here, this is not for either side. I'm just simply saying that it's getting made with or without you. So either you're right, distance yourself from it, say it wasn't made with us, or you realize that if you're on board and you're trying to do stuff with them, that they have the power to change things, which is kind of the sensationalized
You're hoping
thing.
to control the narrative and less sensationalized things. And the things that we're doing, I mean, the biggest field in podcasting is true crime, right? That's got to be the biggest by far, because we have a fascination with figuring out how, we don't cross that line in every day. And so you're wondering what was the thing that tripped this person up, or where did they go wrong, or where,
Yeah, good point, man. Yeah, good point.
We're looking to our other, human beings as a species and saying,
how could they do?
How did they get this to this place?
Yeah.
So
I be cautious with what I say, but like, you don't want to be like, oh wow, you want to be like, oh wow, like, you just got to be a certain way that you look at it and stuff. Because I watch documentaries all the time, some really good ones out there too, but if you can get through an 8-part documentary that's just all of that, wow, that's something. That's saying something.
Netflix has a couple
Right.
Not that I'm a true crime guy or anything. It makes it sound like it, but there's a Night Stalker one about the serial killer in California in the 80s. That one
Is
was
that
really
Edgar
chilling.
Ramirez or Ed Ramirez?
Yeah,
or?
boy, that's a true documentary
Ramirez.
style.
Richard Ramirez. Yeah, sorry. There's an actor
Richard
named Edgar.
Ramirez.
Sorry, I think. Isn't there?
Yeah, that one is a really well-made one. Yeah. And the Zodiac, there's a Zodiac one that's pretty chilling too.
And those are Netflix. So Netflix, I think.
Yeah, they do a good job on their documentary.
Yeah. Well, I think they had to compete with HBO or Max, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Because HBO was running one a month, and then they would pepper little ones throughout. Like they do this big, massive one every month. You know, be it Tina Turner or Zodiac Killer, stuff like that. And then Netflix, I felt they were like, wow, they're getting a lot of press from that stuff. Let's do our own. So you got these.
Yeah, this is what sells, and people are interested in it. So
and they're good. A good documentary will hold you. You'll get to that first part end, and you're like, okay, I'm in. I got to keep going and stuff.
You can't stop watching.
Yeah, you can't stop watching it. Yeah, so
gotta watch another one.
I got to go to another one. Well, Bob's right about that Zodiac one. That Zodiac one is great.
Well, transition into our because Terror in the Isles is kind of it's basically a clip show type movie.
Clip show, yeah.
And I don't know what you could compare it to nowadays. I don't even think they do this
It's a
anymore.
clip show loosely threaded as I don't know. It doesn't really pretend to be a documentary, but it has that feel a little bit.
It does, yeah.
It has parts to it. There's different parts.
Yes, it's broken down into sections.
Yeah.
Of horror, horror movies. So
well, let's clarify that for anybody who wants to watch it or finds
terror movies.
Yeah. So I do know some things about it because, like, it was called Terror in the Isles because the directors were like, we don't just want to focus on the horror movie aspect of it, which was smart on their part.
Yeah,
right.
I enjoy that
because it runs the gamut of a lot of stuff. So one of the best.
I've written down the categories.
You
want them?
No. Yes, I'd like to hear them, please.
You can finish your thought and go ahead.
Well,
and we'll give them.
I don't want to jump ahead and stuff. There's a part in there with Alfred Hitchcock that I think is the best part for me in that movie. So, and that's taken from another documentary.
Documentary. Right.
Yeah. So, but it's
just an overarching why audiences, moviegoers enjoy horror/thrillers.
Yeah.
And it's hosted by Donald Pleasance and Nancy Allen, right? And they're kind of in this theater that's set for the audience to be spoken to by them, and it explains the topics. And Donald Pleasance is great, and he's playing it up.
Eating it up. Like it's a full course meal, and I'm there for every minute of it.
I know.
I'm just having a ball.
That was shocking, wasn't it? But suspense can be equally brutal.
He's cashing that check. He's just...
And there's these weird comedic moments in this thing that probably shouldn't be there, but because the dude was like, here's $500,000 we're going to throw at you, just, run with it.
It's like... Delaney,
yeah,
the hell! It's like that kind of, that kind of
it's
mode
that stuff.
He's in.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Get your ass away from me!
Worth every penny they paid him. Right?
And folks, you couldn't find it for the longest time. Like it came out in 1984. Yeah. And it was. I do know that because I had to look up some stuff, and it was the guys were editing right up to the very end. They included some stuff that was pretty good, but
go ahead. The most recent movie in there is Videodrome.
Like they had to stop trying to put stuff in there because they had a release date. I guess they wanted to hit the Halloween release date. One day after my birthday in 1984, I found out it was released on. In October.
Must have been right before A Nightmare on Elm Street and right before Friday the 13th Part 3, because I know 2's in there.
Yeah.
But for a minute, let's just speak about the environment, the movie and horror thriller environment in that era, because it and then as far as us as viewers, as our age, we were probably in our early teens, probably, right? it was the advent of the video revolution, home video. Because my family had ours in '82. I remember we got our first Betamax or whatever, the top loader.
Yeah,
and we had Beta, and that was a great format, but it fell through to VHS. But
right.
Anyway,
if you were looking to ball on a budget, you got a top-loading VCR. If you were bougie, you got a front-loading VCR. Because this one's for you, Lorenzo. Boy, he had this super silver streamlined $900 front-loading VCR that he was like, Mark, get your ass down here. Look at this thing. So remote that didn't have a wire to it. Oh, my God, man. Oh.
Yeah.
The days back in the day, the days of yore, folks. Holy cow.
But this movie kind of, when we talk about gateway movies, I mean, this was kind of the gateway into it opened up all the possibilities of being a horror fan.
Right.
And you were like, what is that movie? What the heck is that?
There were quite a few in there like, I haven't seen that. What is this?
What's Wings Hauser doing in here?
Goodness.
Oh, go watch that movie, folks. It's a great movie. I'm not going to shy away from that. Got a rough scene, but
Vice Squad?
Yeah, it's one of the best movies of the early '80s that they made. So.
And then there's classic ones too in there. There's like Cary Grant and
there's Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein
and we can't relate to the like Dracula, the classic Universal monsters or anything like that. Like we can't relate in the era that those were released because of there's no television. So at least we had television and we could see things up to the era that we're talking about. You know, it was edited for television, but you know, you could still get a decent horror movie on television that could still kind of get you because, you know, you're just not going to see a stab or you're not going to see grotesque or, you know, overt gore. Yeah. So we don't relate to that, even though that scene is, Jim, you should probably tell us the segments and stuff too, because, you know.
Oh, the categories? The categories are sex and terror, loathsome villains.
You're going to say it like that.
Natural terror, the occult, cosmic terror, and spoofs.
I'll take cosmic terror for 500, please.
It basically covered the whole gamut
of
thrillers and horror movies.
Yeah, they kind of, you know, there's a couple films in there that are in there because of the loathsome villains, and that's like Nighthawks and Marathon Man.
Yeah. Shout out to Rutger
more of a
Hauer,
thriller, and more of a thriller, and not necessarily a horror movie. But those are, you know, memorable scenes for those characters.
You get these older movies that you know, you may not have seen it. I hadn't seen any of those type of movies at that age.
Right. Well, you're limited because if you didn't have, if it wasn't on your radar, you probably didn't go to a video store and get it. You know what I mean?
Right. Like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane's in it. It's like I had no idea.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
Right, as a
but yeah, Blanche,
13-year-old or 14-year-old or whatever.
I just read, by the way, when we were doing all this, that when it aired on television, they added more clips to it. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, there was like 10 more movies that were added to fill the time for, you know, television viewing or something
Stuff
like
that got
that.
cut.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have seen that.
Out, maybe.
Well, Nancy Allen and Donald Pleasance that were in it, I always found it very surreal when Donald Pleasance is talking and then they flash a Halloween scene, and the same with Nancy Allen.
This is put out by Universal, so it makes me feel like they were really pumping their Universal products, and Carpenter's in there a lot, and Halloween 1 and 2, and The Thing is in there. The Fog, I think, is in there.
Right.
Psycho.
Psycho.
Yeah, but I'm saying as far as like Carpenter was like kind of the golden child at that point, and they were pumping that up hard. And the thing I wanted to mention about that is that I noticed like there's like a new soundtrack that's put over instead of using the music from the movies,
correct,
which was interesting because I'm like, they must have really been able to acquire. Well, that's probably their product or property, so that's probably how they were able to do that.
That's a funny thing, isn't it? Like, that's different. Too, Like, that's almost separate from using a clip. So, that's interesting.
But it's the same like the Halloween 2 with the boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. You know, it's like the same, that timpani thing, and it's like, it's different, but the same. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the same. So yeah, it was like an original soundtrack that was laid over. I thought it was kind of interesting how they handled that. And
Asterisk.
it was something.
So Bob and Jim and I are super nerds that we can pick up on music cues in movies.
I know, it's pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I could tell the difference, no one would probably know.
No.
That wasn't a horror
We have
film.
wives that would be like, the hell are you talking about? I'd be like, that's different right there.
Really? Well, that's nice. Just watch the movie.
Yeah, because you could be in the other room going, "Oh, is this the scene where so and so?"
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
Well, I got one of those really quick. Sorry to segue, Bob. You could edit this out. It could be something else. But there's an awesome anime from the early days called Vampire Hunter D. I highly recommend it. It's a great anime. They re-released it, and I'm watching it. I got it as a gift for like Father's Day, and I'm watching it, and my wife is watching it for the first time. She's like, this is pretty good. But I'm like, something's off. Like there's a music cue or some voices that were off, and she had to actually do a deep dive that they had to redo stuff. It wasn't like the original.
A lot of times in animes you don't get the same dub.
Yeah, so I was like, what the heck? So, but it's funny that we've conditioned ourselves as the nerd superstars that we are over the years to catch that, to pick up on that kind of stuff. It's awesome.
Our listeners, if you want to check this out, it's actually in its entirety on YouTube. You could watch the whole documentary. It's called The Documentary. On YouTube right now, so that's how I was able to kind of. I have it. It was released in a Halloween 2 Blu-ray release, I think, by Shout Factory. I think it's part of their extra features, which is kind of cool. So I have it on a disc somewhere, but I was able to kind of watch it in different parts over the last few nights to kind of refresh my memory on it. But yeah, it is on YouTube. So if you want a fun, it's a good primer for Halloween to kind of like, oh yeah, I remember that part in The Exorcist, or
You might see
what's
a
that
couple
movie
things.
with the guy says, I want to get his hat, and I want the hat.
Or worst of all, for no reason whatsoever.
The hat. I want the hat.
At any time, at any place, we may find ourselves a victim.
What are you, some kind of asshole?
I want to talk about that for a second.
That's the first time I've ever seen that.
It's currently streaming, and I just saw it somewhere.
What's it called? Throw the name out again, because I always forget.
Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, and isn't Donald Pleasance in that movie too?
Donald
you're
Pleasance,
right. He's the doctor,
and
right?
Jack Palance, and Martin Landau.
Martin Landau, yeah. And folks, so this is, I'm just going to take us down nostalgia lane for a second. Watching that in Terror in the Isles, I'd never seen it. It hadn't come across me. I was really creeped out by that moment. That is the moment, the takeaway for me from that movie that I've held on to for years. And you get an adult and the internet comes around, you can look that kind of stuff up. But Bob would... So here at the channel, we all suffer from this ADHD syndrome of we grab lines from movies and we constantly have to insert them in our lives. And that was one that Bob grabbed. And he would say the lines from those dudes. He'd be like, I want the hat. And it always creeped me. It creeped on me all the time. And Bob had posted that to the channel like a couple months back, wasn't it, or something? That one scene.
Yeah, it was a reel that we had.
Yeah. Oh my God! And it flooded back. Like all I could see is Bob trying to make that Landau face, with the whole.
Got the big teeth.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie,
great
folks.
psycho in there.
Yeah, like we make fun of it, but it's actually not a bad movie. It's one of those suspenseful, kill 'em all, revenge, psycho, insane asylum type people thing.
Yeah, they're like escapees from an insane asylum, and I think
Right.
they're looking for their doctor. Is that the premise?
They're going
of it?
after his house.
His house,
His
yeah.
house.
Who's out of town or something like that, and then comes back, and they all. I don't know. There's a lot of death, but not.
And if you want 3 actors that can chew the scenery, those 3 can chew the scenery in the best way possible.
The one cool part in that is there's like a gag through the whole thing about a killer that I forget what it is, and then he's the guy
that they're talking about.
Yeah, he puts the mask on, and it's like it's him.
Oh, dude, I couldn't
like
even
the
tell you.
quiet guy of the group, and they're like, I can't remember what that is.
That's not the Jack Palance character. No, it's the.
No, he's a side character, and he puts the hockey mask on.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I do
It's
remember
like a
that now.
goalie mask.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's like he's the one that's like the butcher or whatever the heck it
Right.
is. There's some nickname.
Oh man, now you're gonna make me go down.
There's some good parts to that as far as a horror. That's a good Halloween watch. If you
well, it just stood out watching that.
Check Alone in the Dark.
As these guys are pointing out, it introduced us in an era when if you missed Alone in the Dark because it came out like a year prior,
right? You may have been introduced to certain things. Like I hadn't seen Strangers on a Train, but there's a clip, and that's like, oh, that looks really interesting. So I hadn't seen The Brood, and that looks terrifying. And I watched The Brood, and that is terrifying. So
thank you, David Cronenberg. My God,
yeah, more body horror from David Cronenberg,
who started out like a carpenter.
Well, right?
Scanners. Yeah, the infamous scene in Scanners where they took a shotgun to the back of the dummy's head and actually blew it off on film. So yeah,
the dummy.
The dummy. Yeah, the dummy. Effects like that where you're like, wow, you never saw an exploding head on TV before or in the theater before, So
well, it doesn't shy away from violence or nudity. I mean, I was kind of surprised, and language. I was like, dang, this is like rated R plus, man. There was like all kinds of stuff going on with these clips. They didn't shy away or try to shave off, the explicit parts. Let's put it that way.
It's funny doing research for this. I did read that they had to actually trim stuff or else they get an X rating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they released it.
It's probably just too many. There's like 100 clips. They're like, okay, just calm down.
It's violence and gore and nudity throughout, which is crazy. So I guess, one scene in a 2-hour horror movie is okay, but like 10 scenes together,
correct?
You're like, that's too much. You got to cut some out.
100?
Yeah, you're like, what? So, I that's a weird piece of trivia that I was like, when nothing was worse than, like, maybe the scanner stuff, like exploding heads and stuff, like there wasn't a whole lot that was really bad. It was, well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, at the time there was stuff that we're growing up, it still was like, so I watched the Friday the 13th franchise the other night with my kid. And we decided to do that for Halloween too, and I was like, "Wow, some of those effects are pretty good." At the time, that guy with we went over this thing, guy cut in half.
The Thing and American Werewolf, and American Werewolf, and Howling, and
all the practical effects.
It was it was nice just to go in and watch all the practical effects.
Yep.
So it's a great time capsule. If anyone ever wanted to feel what it was like to experience that era of horror up until that time, from like the 50s, you said like Frankenstein and all that, Universal monsters, from 30s all the way up to the 80s, early 80s. It's definitely a good primer if you wanted to find maybe some old movies you hadn't seen before, catch a clip of and say, I want to check that out. It's kind of like a modern day Reels on Instagram or something. It was kind of one after another.
Yeah. I mean, it does those things. All those clips lose something in the fact that there's no build up or context to it. But I think you're coming to the theater as a fan, and you're like, oh, this is the best part of the thing, or oh, this is, I remember this from this film. Yeah. So you're not looking for it in a narrative sense.
Yeah. Well, technically, spoilers alert, because they'll ruin a lot of movies for you.
Yeah.
So that's what I found at the time that we watched it in the 80s. I was like, oh, it's showing you kind of like that really good stuff. Like if you had Halloween 2 was 80, was it 82? 81?
81, yeah.
Right. So if you had not seen that in the theater and then had not had those astronomically priced VCRs yet, and, it's time, Michael, like you would be like, oh, I just saw the ending of Halloween 2, So it just was like, all right, and this is the killer, if you didn't, I got to admit, Psycho was never shown on TV. It wasn't because it was considered that kind of movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, never saw it on TV.
Yeah, so you didn't get to see it a lot until, I guess I would say after.
Home video.
yeah. So if you didn't know anything about that one, which that's what it holds to, by the way, Psycho is a great, great film. And if you can go into it not knowing anything about it, you have won. That is a phenomenal movie to watch. If you've been living under a rock and you just don't know anything about it, go watch it. Don't let it be spoiled for you, because it's a great movie that has a great build-up. But again, tearing the aisles, thank you, because it would ruin it for you.
Well, it'll still give you the feeling of like, well, how did he get to that? And it's like, how did that get to that point? In that movie. So yeah,
there's a very fast ending where there's the narrator say something, and then it's like and it keeps going, and then eventually you have to walk home or whatever he comes on with at the very end. It's only a movie. It's only a movie. You know what I mean? So I always remember, because it ends with Leatherface slamming the metal door.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and then
beautiful ending.
Yeah,
right?
That's when he's like, So
it's. I mean, it may sound goofy, this whole thing, to some folks, but it's really well edited and thoughtfully put together. So,
right.
It's not just slapped together. It's got some thought. Jim put the categories out. It has some sort of structure, and the clips go together. They kind of intercut, so it comes back. It starts a clip, goes to another, it comes back to that.
Yeah,
right.
So it's thoughtfully put together. It's entertaining, and I'm sure all of us here recommend it for a fun watch in October.
Worth your time.
Yeah, Bob, that's a good way of looking at it too. Like, it was really well done and it's entertaining. Like, you can't say anything more about it. I love that Bob uses the word time capsule, because you don't hear that nowadays, and that's exactly what it is. So kudos to Bob for using that, because it represents folks in the 80s. If you were around, it was slasher central. Every studio.
Yeah, it got off the rails.
Oh my God!
Sometimes
it was doing it. So,
the filmmakers saw dollar signs, and away they went.
So we wanted to also quickly kind of talk about a sad event that happened over the week for movie fans across the world, I guess. Right? Is the passing of the legendary poster artist, or how would you call him? Drew Struzan.
He did other stuff, but that's what he was known for.
Yeah.
So
I quickly just was amazed by the things that I'm like. I got on the wall, the Thing poster. I'm like, oh, well, shoot, he did that. It's like there's so many things like. Well, did he do the one behind me? I think the Star Wars.
No,
one?
He did the one.
Not that one.
Yeah. No, he did the other one, the circus poster. That's right.
The circus. I love the circus poster.
Everybody does. Why was that not the main one? Whatever.
I don't know.
Right.
But anyway, I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts. I know you guys are artists in some way, shape, or form, and have been ever since you were little. And I'm sure he was inspirational to you guys. So I wanted to just set the mic off for you.
I'm going to start this
tell
because
your recollections of him.
It involves Jim. So Jim's been an artist his whole life, so he's really drawn towards the creative eye of things. And for us growing up, a new movie coming out was usually, it could be, if it was a blockbuster, folks, not kind of just the small time things, but usually it would have artwork. I think in the early 90s, maybe they did away with the artwork type stuff, but Jim was always kind of fascinated and in love with that, and it bled over to all of us. So I think that it was really cool to see that, especially because Jim would kind of talk about a poster and have this loving reverence for an art form that we took for granted at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, we did.
Yeah, because
it is gone.
Yeah, the Avengers bobbleheads. That's what I call them now. It's all bobbleheaded thing. Or I didn't coin the phrase, but that's what it's. All the stars now, they're bobbleheads on posters. So, but that's how
in that era it was the face of the movie, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that was basically what the impression you got was from a poster. It wasn't a trailer online or something.
You could often count on that being the cover of the book adaptation. You could often, the merchandising would be, not a Drew Struzan piece of art, but Jaws is a great example of the image that sells everything about the film. So,
well, that guy.
So,
like his composition of putting in things that you'd be like, oh, cool. Yeah, like you would have to be like, what's that? like, is that in the movie or is it not? You know, like it's just stuff like that.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I loved it.
And likenesses, he was, unparalleled. And he did very kind of innovative things, like if you look at the posters for Goonies, where they're all the kids are kind of hanging off a stalactite. He did a thing where, I don't know, they all move around, like depending on who they wanted to highlight in the film. Like,
right.
Data could be the guy at the top, or versus Josh Brolin's character, or Sean Astin's character, or the Harry Potter films all feature Drew Struzan art. The Star Wars re-releases were like the peak of the re-release. The special editions, I should say.
Yeah, he is synonymous. Well, he's like John Williams. He's the creative
that's a good way to put it.
art world's John Williams, because he was greatly associated with Lucas and Spielberg and their movies. So I have to wonder. It's not like Drew Struzan couldn't do a Schindler's List if he wanted to. Somebody commissioned him for that. Mm-hmm. I often wonder the studios, when their power became so much that Spielberg and Lucas and those guys couldn't really go to a Struzan and say,
oh, sure,
I want this and stuff. Because you're right, those Star Wars are basically his end. The re-release, not the release Star Wars, the
special edition,
special editions, and then the prequel trilogy. You know what I mean? Those are kind of his swan song of when a studio probably really wanted to do that, because it's familiar to us. You know what I mean? Familiar to the world.
Right. So. Right. They're trafficking on nostalgia.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite, Jim? I had to ask. Like, I got to ask this.
Man,
I got to mention one, too.
Do you really? I can't wait. I got one, too.
I think mine might be the same as Mark's. I'll see.
No, there's no.
I just love.
I don't think so.
And I'm not even the biggest Temple of Doom fan, but I love that Indiana Jones face on in the Temple of Doom.
All right, I got mine flip flop.
There's something about it.
He's half right, folks.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, the one that Bob's referring to is the large Harrison, right? Kind of 3/4 to the side. That's the one you're talking about, I think.
Like the face, and he's kind of looking back.
Yeah, that says so much about that movie. Like, with that prominent Harrison Ford head and all the stuff that he paints in that. That is a very well-informed poster. And then my other kind of top spot is First Blood. It's just Stallone with his big gun. And nobody knew how to market that movie. And the tagline says, this time he's fighting for his life. What? What does that mean? This time he's fighting. What does that mean? Yeah. Like, you had to be a fan of Rocky to know what that meant. Right. And there's hardly anything in the background, but that perfect Sylvester Stallone looking Rambo. In the First Blood, and holding that gun, dude. Yeah, that's those two are my faves of all time. And then what do they call that when you got like a side note one? Side note one is like Hook.
Ah.
Yeah, like go back and look at that one. That's a fantastic poster, man. You know why, Bob? It looks like Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah, the Indiana Jones with the whip.
Big Trouble in Little China sells that movie perfectly. It strikes all the right tones, gives you all the right characters. There's a great, and it's been showing up on social media since his passing. There's a great story about his poster for The Thing, which was he had 24 hours to do it. They didn't really give him the plot. They didn't really. So it's him in his parka, and I believe his wife had taken the photo of him.
Yeah.
Backlit by and like I think the white paint on it was still wet when they delivered it.
Wow.
They did that in a day.
Well, trivia, folks, his wife did all his photography, and she would often have him pose with stuff to do all that
for reference.
Yeah. So I don't know if she'd ever. I've never heard in all these years of like a book or something produced of her stuff, but she was the photographer for all of that. And if you want to see some great quality posters that she photographed him for, the many Muppet movie posters where
Oh yeah, those are fantastic. Yeah,
well,
those are great.
He would often pose with Muppets.
You know.
So, to try to get that stuff, which I think that's a great story to hear.
I think he did like Pale Rider, that stands out.
Yeah.
As a as a nice piece. The Back to the Future
Back to the
poster
Future.
really stands out.
Oh my God, Back to the Futures.
I mean,
and the fact that he went
it's
back,
titillating, but doesn't give you enough. Again, the fact that he revisits it. For
yeah,
the sequels
like who does
fantastic.
that? Like you put 1, 2, and 3 next to each other. Come on, that's probably the greatest trilogy of posters of all time. Like it, just the way it is. It's Marty and Doc.
The continuity of it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Come on. That's a great marketing scheme right there. Good Lord.
I just, like I said, I'm amazed at I didn't know he did that. Oh, I didn't know he did that. And there's so many that he was involved with that
There's like an early Raiders poster that I liked.
Yeah. I was going to say that we don't know if there were other guys that were coming up that because his posters were so popular, they were giving other people a shot. So, like, the first Raiders poster is not Drew Struzan.
No.
That's
but there are Drew Struzan Raiders posters.
Yes, there are. But I think it's Richard
the one with
Ansel
his hand over his head with the... Yeah.
With the whip?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one where that's a Struzan.
Yeah.
But the one that's whole Harrison's face,
that
it's
one.
all kind of beige. Yep. That's the Ansel one.
That's the Ansel one and stuff. And the Temple of Doom one that Bob and I talked about, the teaser one for that was not Struzan. That's the one with him just standing in the entrance.
No, it's kind of standing, in the entrance in kind of a weird forced perspective.
Yeah,
the low angle one.
Yeah. The low angle.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's not Struzan. Jim, I know we're fans of the movie Dreamscape. Did he do the poster for that by any chance?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I do it.
Yeah, and it echoes a little bit of he did a Raiders poster like that too, where the main characters are center, and then he has the other characters
outside,
coming
right?
up along the sides,
Yeah.
kind of framing
that one
that
up,
piece.
folks.
Yeah.
He also did all the Police Academy posters, so you get all these characters on there in Drew Struzan form, which is great and stuff. So,
and again, likenesses are all 100% on all those.
And once you get his style in your head, you start identifying it.
Right.
Easy,
Right.
yeah.
He sold a book a while back, right before he was getting sick, and I missed out on it. I know I should have got it because you just always think there'll always be another time. You know what I mean?
Always be there, right? This guy's always going to crank out posters.
Yeah.
He did probably my first exposure to his art was before I knew who he was. And in comics, they used to sell, I think it was in DC Comics, they used to sell this. There were two posters. One was Superman and one was Batman. And they're just very stylized photos. And it gives me an Alex Ross kind of feel to them. They look
nice.
They look very much, Mark, when you see these pictures, you go, oh, I've seen that poster somewhere before.
Okay, cool.
It very much looked like someone in a costume.
Oh, nice.
And not comic arty. It looked more like a photograph of somebody in a costume.
Oh, great, man.
Oh, yeah, Blade Runner is another one of his great.
Oh, yeah. I do love that one.
Shawshank.
Yeah, there's so many.
Yeah, he at the height of his power, ladies and gentlemen, like he was the guy that all the studios were turning to. Like,
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't know if they ever did any kind of research, but like he was the guy that did it, even though I don't think they would have known. Like, is he part of it? Like, is his poster selling the movie and making it more money? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how anybody would know that back then.
Oh, sure.
So I just think that
There is a documentary on him called Drew, the Man Behind the Poster.
Yeah,
So
I did
get
watch
a chance
that.
to seek that out.
Recommended, folks.
I'd
Where
watch
is
that
that?
sometime.
Is that streaming somewhere?
It's got to be, I would assume.
Drew, the man behind the poster?
Yep.
Look that one up.
Yeah, look that one up, folks.
All right.
I'm looking it up right now.
Well, it is a sad thing that's happened because there's just not,
Not many people like him,
right.
and it
He's
seems
definitely
everything
one of a
is
kind.
Yeah.
doesn't seem handmade anymore. It seems very photoshopped or.
AI.
And according to my research, the Struzan documentary is on Netflix currently.
Oh,
So
good.
Give it a look.
All right. Well, we hate to leave you on such a
I
downer
know.
note,
How did
but,
that happen?
we do celebrate
Sorry,
his
folks.
work.
So don't let it be a downer note. Go watch the documentary on it. Incredible
and
man
enjoy his
and
artwork and
amazing talent, and his artwork
appreciate
lives forever
it,
because
and,
it's attached to films that we all love. So
and leave us a comment on what your favorite Drew Struzan poster is. Over the years, leave it in the comment in our comment section. We'd love to hear from that, or on social media. I know I put an Instagram post last week, commemorating his work. So drop us a line and see. Hopefully we can talk about it over the comment section.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode. And like I said, drop us a comment. Give us a like and a subscription to our channel. We'd really appreciate that. And help support us as we keep talking about stuff we enjoy. And hopefully share it with you. And hopefully you enjoy it. So I guess with that, we'll leave you with the final goodbyes from everyone here at the Fandom Outpost. I'm Bob.
I'm Jim.
And I am Mark. See you later.
Happy Halloween. We'll see you next time.